Hello friends, welcome to a new chapter today. In this chapter we are going to learn about general pharmacology. So what do you see in general pharmacology? So we'll have to learn the basics of pharmacology. If your general pharmacology is strong, then your systemic pharmacology will be very strong. So first we have drug. These are just we have some definitions, okay, some things which are important in general pharmacology. So first, what is drug? Drug is a chemical with a noun substance. Drug is a chemical with a noun structure that alters the pathophysiological process of an individual for therapeutic gain. So what are the sources of drugs? From where do we manufacture the drugs? The drugs are can be natural, can be derived from natural means or semi synthetic means or synthetic means. The drugs which are derived from the natural uh, natural processes are some of the drugs are derived from plants, which include reserpine, physostigmine, morphine and quinine. There are some drugs which are derived from animals, which include insulin, growth hormone, exenatide, lepirudin are derived from animals. There are some microorganisms which are there are some drugs derived from microorganisms like antibiotics. Then if you see semi-synthetic are there are drugs derived, these are the drugs which are derived from plants or animals, but those drugs have been modified a little in order to make them they are modified a little in order to make them more viable, more feasible and more compliant for the patient to take by adding some advantages and removing some disadvantages. So here the semi-synthetic is one of it is morphine. Morphine is derived from plant. This morphine has been modified into apomorphine. Then we have synthetic drugs. Synthetic drugs are those which are completely synthesized from chemicals. So how are we going to produce the synthetic drugs? Synthetic drugs are mainly designed with the help of something called as rational drug designing. Rational drug designing is a pathway by which synthetic is the main principle through which synthetic drug is designed. So if you see, the drug is designed in such a way it binds to specific receptor. The drug has to be bind to specific receptor so that this receptor is activated or inhibited, producing the required effects. So what are the sources of synthetic drugs? So if you see the sources of synthetic drugs, number one, they can be produced from the normal natural drugs by genetic engineering. So for example, if you need a if you need the regular insulin which we are using, that regular insulin is produced from human insulin through the process of genetic engineering. Okay, in this genetic engineering we change a particular amino acid and impart certain qualities so that the drug the drug can be used for curing particular diseases. So if this human insulin, by changing an amino acid, we have produced different types of insulin. Among them we have insulin glulisine, insulin lispro, insulin aspart. Okay, these insulin gluliso, lispart and aspart, here there is mainly change in duration and action of the insulin hormone. Then once the drug enters our body, we have two processes which can occur in our body, which are called as pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. Pharmacokinetics is the study of drug movement in the body. Pharmacokinetics. What is pharmacokinetics? Pharmacokinetics is the study of drug movement in the body. That is, what body does to the drug is pharmacokinetics. So this includes mainly, we have in pharmacokinetics absorption, distribution, metabolism and excretion. Then we have pharmacodynamics. Pharmacodynamics is the what drug does to the body is pharmacodynamics. This includes drug binding to the target and producing certain effect is pharmacodynamics. Then this is how the drug dynamics. So first there is drug in the oral route, it gets absorbed through the GIT. Then it reaches the systemic circulation. It has two things that it can happen. One, there can be drug distribution. Here the drug is distributed to all the organs of our body, or with the help of that is, and it produces required effect, and some of the drug goes to drug distribution, that is, it is distributed all over the body, and the remaining drug which is remaining, that will enter the target organ producing the effect. Sometimes this the remaining drug produce the effect. After that, this drug also goes to the liver, undergoes metabolism, and in the metabolism the lipid soluble drug gets converted to water soluble form, thus enters the kidney and it is excreted. And if you see in systemic circulation, the remaining drug has been effect is produced, right? And sometimes the drug will be very lipid soluble, highly lipid soluble, that after one complete distribution, right, one complete cycle of distribution, the remaining drug will again undergo redistribution. Okay, second time the distribution occurs. If the drug is highly lipid soluble, then we call it as redistribution. So this redistribution occurs only in drugs which are highly lipid soluble. So these drugs which are highly lipid soluble, obviously because of redistribution, they have very short acting, and example of these drugs are mainly thiopentone sodium. Then we have absorption. So what do you see in absorption? In absorption, here this is the membrane. Okay, through the membrane the lipid soluble drugs will enter the membrane, and with the help of passive diffusion, this lipid soluble drugs will cross the membrane, and with the help of passive diffusion they cross the membrane. This is called as passive diffusion. Through passive diffusion they can cross the membrane. This is most common type of diffusion and absorption, and this occurs along the concentration gradient. Then if they are water soluble drugs, think that they are water soluble drugs. If they are water soluble drugs, there is no chance that they can cross the membrane, right? They require something which will help them to cross the membrane, and that something is nothing but the aqueous channel. So this is called as filtration. This is called as filtration. And for this, the example of this drug is subcutaneous insulin. Okay, we have even more drugs, some more drugs which are mediated by carriers. So there are some drugs which are called as carrier mediated. In this, the drug attaches to the specific carrier molecule. Okay, so specific molecule, and this will helps in diffusion. So if this occurs with the help of carrier molecule, we call it as facilitated diffusion. This facilitated diffusion occurs along the concentration gradient and does not require ATP. Example of this facilitated diffusion is GLUT, whereas the drug can also bind to the specific carrier, and it also occur, it can also cross the membrane through a process called as active transport. So in this active transport, it occurs against the concentration gradient, that is from lower concentration of a drug to higher concentration of that drug. So from lower to higher concentration, that is against the concentration gradient, also there can be this diffusion occurs. This carrier mediated transport occurs. So this active transport requires ATP, and the example is sodium glucose like transporters. Then we have told you about the absorption. Now for absorption, we also sometimes may require, some of the drugs require a pump which is called as P-glycoprotein pump. This P-glycoprotein pump is present in the intestinal lumen. Okay, so this is the blood lumen. Okay, this is the lipid membrane. Okay, so this is the blood lumen, and this is the lipid membrane which you can see. Okay, this is the intestinal epithelial cell, and this which you are seeing here, this is the P-glycoprotein pump. Okay, this P-glycoprotein pump will help in diffusion of the substances through it. So the drug will diffuse into the cells. first what actually happens is, first the drug will diffuse from the blood lumen into the cells. Okay, it has diffused into the cells. Okay, once it has diffused into the cells, in the intraepithelial cell, okay, there is increased concentration of the drug. Because there is increased concentration of the drug in the intraepithelial cells, this increased concentration cannot be taken up by the cell, and as a result, this some of this drug goes through this P-glycoprotein pump to the outside. Okay, some of this drug goes to the P-glycoprotein pump outside the cell, and this is called as drug efflux through P-glycoprotein pump. Okay, this is a presynaptic elimination, and it is also called as first pass metabolism, because some of the drug has been eliminated from our from the cell. So that is first pass metabolism. Then if you see the drugs, there are some drugs which activate the P-glycoprotein, and there are some drugs which inhibit the P-glycoprotein. The drugs which activate the P-glycoprotein will cause increased efflux of the drug, and as a result there is decreased concentration of the drug in the cells, thus causing drug failure. The drugs which inhibit this P-glycoprotein have no efflux of the drug, and as a result there is increased concentration of the drug in the cell, leading to drug toxicity. So these lists are very important. So if you see the drugs which activate the activate the P-glycoprotein are enzyme induced rifampicin. Enzyme induced rifampicin will activate the P-glycoprotein. The drugs which inhibit P-glycoprotein leading to their toxicity include verapamil, amiodarone, cyclosporin, itraconazole, nifedipine, erythromycin, zosuquidar, and elacridar. Verapamil, amiodarone, cyclosporin, itraconazole, nifedipine, erythromycin, zosuquidar, and elacridar. So this P-glycoprotein efflux is one of the mechanism of drug resistance in anti-cancer drugs. Then the next topic which we have is passive diffusion. So this passive diffusion, so the drug enters the